Hi, it's Andrew from Empiric. I'm the director of our European team here in London. Empiric Insights is our video series where the team sits down with experts across different specialities that we recruit for to hear their guidance and perspectives on current trends and influences that are shaping the industry. Hi, thrilled today to be joined with Paul McNamara from Ateko. Could you please introduce yourself, Paul?
Sure. My name is Paul McNamara. I've been working in IT for about 20 years, which would be about 15 years with ServiceNow at this point. I'm a certified master architect and a two-time community MVP. I was also the founder of PAMT Consulting, a premier Canadian ServiceNow partner, which was sold to Ateko back in August. Ateko is a Canadian elite ServiceNow partner, backed by Bell Canada, a new Canadian digital transformation company looking to make a home for all of these great Canadian tech companies.
Fantastic. And we'll kind of jump right into it. You've talked about companies investing heavily in ServiceNow, but kind of only using a fraction of its capability. Why do you think that happens? And what kind of practical steps can teams do to unlock more of the value they've already paid for?
Well, it's in no way a slight to say that ServiceNow's primary objective is to sell you licenses. They want to sell their product, they want to sell their SKUs. A lot of the times, what happens is organizations will go and need ITSM or CSM or specifics, and bundled into that package or that deal will be more capabilities, more SKUs within the ecosystem. What tends to happen if organizations don't have a plan to deploy that capability is it sits on the shelf. 3 years, 5 years in, renewal time comes up. Someone with a C in their title says, hey, we've been paying for SecOps or we've been paying for hardware asset management, but we're not using it. Why is that? They see the cost and they want to know. A big important thing, both in the ServiceNow ecosystem and the partner ecosystem, is to find that shelfware and help to deploy it with clients so that they can get full value out of the investment that they've made.
Yeah, fantastic. And you kind of talked about your kind of tenure in the ServiceNow ecosystem, and I guess you've built your reputation on turning around difficult projects and having that kind of customer experience front of mind. What have those experiences taught you about trust and keeping delivery on track?
My opinion, consulting is all about the people and finding and building a team of people who actually genuinely care about the outcomes that clients have is key to success. Every partner has technical capabilities, consulting capability, but to really drive value with organizations, you need to care about the outcomes. And so, what we've learned over the years is that by truly getting in and understanding the business objectives of the organization, the people involved, what they care about, what their pain points are, we're able to drive value by delivering solutions tailored to the outcomes that they're looking for and to the people that are involved.
Yeah, fantastic. And I think kind of one of the hot topics, I guess, within the ServiceNow ecosystem and kind of thinking of outcomes. And the big kind of the word of 2025, I guess, is kind of AI. And not every organisation has kind of the budget or the maturity to kind of dive into AI just yet from the conversations that I'm having. But how are you seeing kind of customers balance that hype with the needs to get the basics done first?
I feel like the community today is in POC, proof of concept, or MVP, minimally viable product,
Mm,
a hell of sorts. Every organization is trying multiple tools. They all know that they have to invest in AI or they're going to be left behind, and that's a very valid concern. What I'm
mm,
seeing is many organizations building many trial capabilities, but these are wallowing in the POC position and not moving to production quickly. I'd love to be corrected on that. I'd love to see more use cases.
mhm,
But what I've found with ServiceNow specifically is the maturity of the organizations, the quality of the underlying data, the articles in their knowledge base, the tagging in their catalogs, all of the things that are required for AI to truly deliver contextually accurate, valuable responses that are specific to your organization. That just doesn't exist in at large scale. And a huge percentage of the market is not the massive, Fortune 100 companies that have
mm,
entire teams dedicated to AI. So if you're a shop that's got a 2 or 3 person ServiceNow team that's keeping the lights on, driving value through workflow,
mm,
the odds of being ready for AI are very low. And at Ateko, one of our focuses is helping clients to evaluate their current status, how their data is, and give them a roadmap to getting ready for AI. But a really key
Mm,
thing to remember here is though ServiceNow is positioning itself as the AI platform for the next decade, it had a whole suite of capabilities before that, right? And leveraging those
mm,
tools, fully leveraging the existing technology is a precursor to doing AI.
100%. Fantastic. And you're a ServiceNow certified master architect this year, I think.
Yes.
Yes.
I found out the week before Knowledge last May that I had passed my retake, which means that the
Yeah.
first time I went through the board review, the 4 hours of preparing a board presentation and presenting that to three CMAs, I was not successful. After 18, 19 years in IT and 15 in ServiceNow, I was humbled to learn that I still had an awful lot to learn. And the biggest things that I took away from the CMA program is learning how to better articulate the value of governance within the platform, within the organization. AI control tower for governing your AI bots is going to be huge. But beyond that, you've got the importance of organizational change management and how you need to invest in bringing your team and up to speed and platform adoption that results from it, and all of those things that are around the technology that help you to speak to the C-suite to better articulate the value proposition of ServiceNow beyond my ability to build integrations or web portals or workflow automation.
And for hiring managers, for instance, who aren't deep in the platform, what should they look for to recognise true ServiceNow capability in candidates and partners? I guess you've been on that side of the fence where you've interviewed candidates for your team. What are the things that you'd be looking?
I can't stress enough the importance of the soft skills. We refer to them as unicorns, those people who can understand the technology and communicate it in a way that the business understands, but have the soft skills to understand customer service, understand how to communicate, understand how to get their point across without speaking down to people or sounding too technical. The other thing that worries me in the market systems ecosystem, to be honest, worries me in the ecosystem, to be honest, is the paper architects. So we have interviewed a significant number of people who have their certified technical architect. They have 4 or 5 mainline certifications, but they haven't actually done any implementations. They haven't learned the hard lessons. They haven't figured out what works and what doesn't work. They are good at studying and writing tests. Dig deeper. You want to find people that have done the work. The architecture titles, even my own, they do have some value. They do validate that ServiceNow has trained you and looked into it, but there is no replacing real world experience. And if they don't have the real world experience, but they have those soft skills, you can teach the technology. The soft skills are harder. So find people that if they don't know the answer, they will own it, admit it, and tell you that they'll get back to you, and they get back to you with the right answer. This platform is
Mm.
massive now. You cannot know everything. So find people who understand their limitations as opposed to being loudly incorrect, as you find so common in consulting.
And are there any sort of specific questions that you ask that you think's a good barometer to kind of measure those kind of softer skills?
Oh, that's a great question, and I'm a little behind on interviewing of late, so nothing's jumping right to mind. Though I do like to ask situational questions.
Mm,
So things like when you have a client that is convinced of their position, but you know that technically it's wrong, or that it will introduce technical debt or cause complexity or
mm,
to your instance, how would you approach that customer? How do you get them to your side? How do you
mm,
convince them to go down your path? And even a step further, if you can't, what do you do to ensure that you're not at risk? And I hate to say it, but you cover your tail to ensure that 6 months, 12 months later, they come back to you and say, "You said this,"
mm,
or "You
mm,
meant this," and you know that it
mm,
was correct. You can go back and validate that you gave the right recommendations. I've actually got clients who have literally sent me feedback and said, "You know what? We argued with so and so, and they tried to convince us, and we went our way, and now we
mm,
trust them implicitly because we figured out they were
mm,
right. We had to undo our mistakes." And that level of trust is almost impossible to earn without real life experience.
Yeah, great. Um, is there anything else you'd like to add that we haven't covered in this conversation?
I mentioned earlier that ServiceNow is really focused on AI, but ServiceNow is dominating the ITSM market, growing into the HRSD market, FSO, CSM, you name it, they've been growing. And this platform is a collection of phenomenal tools. And so as powerful as AI is going to be as we move forward, don't rest on the fact that ServiceNow had other capabilities. I'm extremely excited about Workflow Data Fabric, the ability to consume data from all of your enterprise systems without actually copying it into your system, accessing it. That'll feed the AI as well. There are so many capabilities of ServiceNow beyond AI. Don't forget about that, and understand that building that properly and with quality and with an eye to the data is going to set you up for AI success in the future.
Yeah, so it's kind of not to be too blinkered towards that kind of kind of focus, and to really think about the capabilities that you've got on the platform outside of that, which in the end kind of makes you ready for AI.
There seems to be a belief in the C-suite across the world that they're going to flip a switch, turn on AI, and all their problems will be solved. Uh, that would be like putting a roof on to a house with no foundation. It's a great idea that AI is, and it's going to evolve, and it is evolving rapidly. But starting from the foundation and understanding what you've got and what you've built, and knowing and having a strategy for how to deploy it within your organization is critical.
Awesome. Well, look at it, and I'm sure if you're a customer that's kind of struggling with this, with where to go and how to build those foundations, please reach out to Paul and the team at Ateko. But really appreciate you taking the time to speak to us today, Paul, and to share your very generous insights into the ServiceNow market, and your story towards certified master architect is something that I followed, and was a real even for someone who's not technically minded, was kind of the inspirational story of kind of not giving up, and really showing that even 15 years into into the business, that kind of every day is a school day, and there's always more to learn and to kind of develop, right? So I really appreciate your generosity with sharing the insights with us today, and really appreciate you taking the time to speak with us.
Well, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. I've been open about my journey, and I've shared because I believe in the ServiceNow community. I think it's the biggest differentiator between it and any of the other technologies out there. Between the developer meetups, the snugs, the community as a whole, it's a great place to be, and I appreciate your contributions to it.
Thanks, Paul.